Hello, it's Burgess Taylor, and today is The Artist Way. That's week 2, recovering a sense of identity. Now, one of the reasons why I initially started The Artist Way last year, the end of the year before that, and then again at the beginning of the year last year, was because I felt like I had lost a part of me. I had denied myself creating art for 30 plus years. I had quit writing fiction. When I met Mr. Rockstar, a lot of things changed. The door to creativity just opened. It bloomed, it blossomed, and I felt this immense amount of creativity. And part of that was because he was extremely supportive. Mr. Rockstar is a musician. He's a singer and a guitar player. He was in a band. So we were both creative people. So having his support really changed things for me. I went from knowing I wanted to do something creative, but I have grown with my writing where I wanted to get back into fiction. I decided to try NaNoWriMo after many years of being away from it. I had tried it twice before. The first time I had failed it, the second time I had accomplished it, but I never did anything with that novel. Being with Mr. Rockstar prompted me to start NaNoWriMo and to get back into writing and then to get back into art, to doodling and drawing and painting. I love watercolor. I absolutely love watercolor. Thanks to Mr. Rockstar, I have my own creative space, and that's really important. It's changed things for me. It's changed things for me tremendously. When I originally did The Artist Way, though, I was still feeling a little lost. I was still feeling like maybe my purpose was something different. Maybe I needed to get a real job. Maybe I needed to continue with art or writing or whatever as a hobby. And I was feeling a bit of lost. I decided that I needed to make myself give it a chance. Because see, for a long time, my identity was wrapped up in being an employee, being a mom, being a daughter, being a girlfriend, being a manager, and that creative part of me had gotten lost. The lines of my identity were sort of blurred. When I was laid off, that was probably one of the best things that could have happened to me because it changed things. But I was looking in the mirror, literally and figuratively, and I didn't really recognize the person that I had become, and I knew I needed to make changes. I did that. And so I was still going along with the finding out my my purpose, who I was outside of being a girlfriend and then a fiance and then a wife, a mother and now grandmother. What I saw in the mirror by then was, okay, so I'm heavier, I'm older, I'm also happier. So what I did was do The Art's Way. Now, last year when I did this part, it was completely different than this year. She describes the very beginning part as going sane. And she says that, it can feel a bit like you're going crazy, that you can become a bit obsessive about protecting your time. It can end up being a little bit erratic. She says the erraticism is a normal part of getting unstuck, pulling free from the muck that has blocked us. It's important to remember that at first blush, going sane feels like going crazy. There is a recognizable ebb and flow to the process of recovering. As we gain strength, so will some of the attacks of self-doubt, that this is normal. Common self-attacks are like, okay, I did okay this week, but it's just a temporary thing. Or, okay, so I got the morning pages done. I probably did them wrong. Who am I kidding? I'll never recover. Not right away. Not ever. But she says that those attacks are groundless. Before The Artist Way originally, I would have felt guilty about anything and everything that I did that took away time from family, that took away time from housework, that took away time from the rational, logical things. I would have thought a creative life, a creative job would never pay the bills. I had that mentality that being an artist is not a real job. In The Artist Way last year, I realized that a lot of that guilt was because of past issues. Suffice to say, I got past a lot of that. Now, there is still sometimes even now, where I let self-doubt turn into self-sabotage, that I feel like any of the success that I have is just a fluke, that I'm an imposter. But Julia also says that one of the ways that we can avoid the self-doubt that leads to self-sabotage is by being aware. By being aware and paying attention. By being aware of the poisonous playmates, which is the next section, the crazy makers, and by paying attention. She talks about skepticism before the attention, but if you are aware of the people that you are around, that are in your environment, that are in your bubble, who are blocked themselves, you're going to realize that one, they're not really going to help you. They're going to be jealous maybe or envious. They are going to want you to kind of stay blocked. It's like misery loves company, and you need to sort of guard against that. You have a responsibility to yourself to actually be supportive of yourself and to guard against that. That nobody's going to support you better than you, pretty much is what she says, and that you have to be strong and lean on yourself. And remember that, this is what you're doing for yourself. So, crazy makers, I don't have really any crazy makers in my life. Crazy makers to me are a lot like emotional vampires. Now, we all have that one relative, or maybe three, who there's always a bit of drama that comes with that person. There's always something. If things go wrong, they blame you. It's always your fault. They will put the blame on everybody else. They're always expecting you to do things. And one of the things that you have to realize is that you can make a conscious decision you can't control other people's actions, but you can control your own reactions, and you can let go of the need to fix things for them, to be a part of that drama, because sometimes those people are family members, and you could technically put them out of your life, but sometimes it's not really a good choice. Sometimes you have to control how you react and act. Last time around, that's sort of what I did, is I put some distance between myself and any of the people who were sort of in the crazy maker or the poisonous playmate category. I'm not a real big social person anyway. I'm really choosy, really picky and choosy about the people that are in my bubble. However, with family, it's a little bit different, and I have a rather big family, and so and then anytime somebody suffers from something like depression or anxiety, ADHD, bipolar, things like that, there's always going to be a tiny bit of drama associated with some of those things, because depression is very real. And when the people that you love are in a bad way, you want to help them. And I don't look at that as drama. Some people might, because they're calling you, they're upset, they need you, you have to go there and help, or you have to sit on the phone and talk. And some people maybe don't have the patience for that or consider that to be drama. I don't. That's what you do. As somebody who suffers from anxiety and depression and ADHD, I understand. That doesn't mean it's convenient all the time, but that's life. Sometimes life is not convenient. Not life itself, but things that happen in life are not convenient. Because some people want special treatment, and some people actually need a little bit of special treatment, and that's okay. I kind of looked at it differently, and I think that it really just depends on your attitude towards things. I no longer go out of my way to fix things for other people. People have to fix things for themselves. I had to learn that the hard way. You can't fix anybody, they have to fix themselves. Skepticism. So that's one of the barriers to creative recovery. She said, let us take a look at the inner enemy we harbor ourselves. Our own deeply held skepticism is that inner enemy. This might be called the secret doubt. Can be boiled down to, doubts go something like this. Okay, so I started writing the morning pages and I seem more awake and alert. So what? It's just coincidence. Okay, so I started filling the well and taking my artist out on a date. I do notice I'm cheering up a little. So what? It's just coincidence. I'm sorry, I'm reading out of the book. Let's do it this way. I'm beginning to notice that the more I let myself explore the possibility that there being some power for good, the more I notice lucky coincidence turning up in my life. That would be synchronicity. So what? I can't believe it. I'm really being led. That's just too weird. And the reason, Cameron says, that we think it's weird to imagine an unseen helping hand is that we still doubt that it's okay for us to be creative. One of the things most worth noting in a creative recovery is our reluctance to take seriously the possibility that the universe just might be cooperating with our new and expanded plan. We've gotten brave enough to try recovery, but we don't want the universe to really pay attention. In ordinary pre-recovery life, when we would hear something weird or threatening, we'd just grab that door knob to creativity and just pull the door shut, she says, fast. But one of the things that's important about creativity, about recovering, is that you're going to leave the door open. Part of that is being open-minded. More than anything else, the creative recovery is an exercise in open-mindedness. She asks you to picture your mind as that room with the door slightly ajar, to nudge the door open a bit more, and that's what makes for open-mindedness. I can't talk today. And then we get to paying attention. So I'm going to say this about self-doubt. One of the things I have the most trouble with, and I went through this last time, and it helped some, but that's one of the reasons I'm doing it again, is that need to second guess yourself, the questioning, the doubting. Anytime that things are going really well and you're paid compliments, you feel like you're doing a good job creatively, like maybe your novel's going really well, maybe your art's going really well, that kind of thing. People are complimenting you. You have that temptation to resist the compliment, to resist the goodness, to resist the open expansion of your creativity, to resist the good. And instead, that doubt knocks at that door, or maybe just walks right on in, Paying attention has to do with one of the things I've been working on since before the beginning of the year. We started this in December in my Patreon group, and that is mindfulness. And part of paying attention is focusing on the right now. And this is what she says. The capacity for delight is the gift of paying attention. She talks about Mary Sarton's a Journal of Solitude, which I have and have read, and it's actually really good. The reward for paying attention is always healing. It may begin as the healing of a particular pain, a lost lover, a sick child, a shattered dream. But what is healed finally is the pain that underlies all pain, the pain that we are all unutterably alone. Unutterably alone. That's a tongue twister. So more than anything else, attention is an act of connection. She gives the rules of the road. In order to be an artist, I must show up on the page, use the page to rest, to dream, to try, to fill the well by caring for my artist, to set small and gentle goals and meet them. Pray for guidance, courage, and humility. Remember that it's far harder and more painful to be a blocked artist than it is to do the work. And then she goes on with several more of them. There are 10 altogether. So the tasks, I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the 10 tasks. Well, I did more than that because I did my affirmation reading. So I did 6 of those 10. And then with morning pages for my actual check-in, I did 5 of the 7 morning pages in the morning. I did 2 of the morning pages in the evening. I'm still not quite there with doing them every single morning. When Mr. Rockstar is home, it makes it very difficult for me to do the morning pages or to like stay on my regular routine. That's something I have to work on. And then the other day, because he's only been off this one day this week, the other day I woke up late. I had to do some stuff, and it was like I was running late because I didn't wake up early to do them. So this coming week, in week 3, is recovering a sense of power. So in week 3, that's what I'm going to work on, is what I have control over, and that is getting up early to do the morning pages, artist dates, controlling things that I can control and doing the tasks and working on the morning pages and making an artist date a date, writing it down in my Hobonichi and in my Omni journal and making it a priority. So it's actually a date with myself. Now for my artist date, I did some small ones this past week. I took a walk. I took a long hot bubble bath with candles because of the bad weather yesterday. I sat down with a cup of hot cocoa, complete with marshmallows and everything. And I cut on some jazz music and I sat down at the dining room table, got out Mr. Victor's coloring book, found the picture of Wonder Woman that I wanted, and I drew and then painted, watercolored, Wonder Woman for a friend and put a quote on there. I had a really good time doing it. Wasn't really worried about what anybody else thought about it. I tried not to worry about any mistakes I made, and yes, there were a couple, but it's okay. I had fun doing it, and that's what matters. I also did some sketches, some ink sketches of Snoopy and Mickey Mouse for Patreon, and I need to scan those as well as some other things and get them to Patreon. So that's what I'm going to work on now while the video is saving and all that good stuff. So I hope you have a good one. I have, oh, one more thing, any issues I had. One of the things that I had an issue with was the crazy maker part. A lot of us don't recognize crazy makers, the poisonous playmates and the crazy makers. A lot of us don't really recognize those people in our lives, especially if they're family members. I know from personal experience that sometimes people just need a little attention. Maybe they need a little quality time with you, and it's not so much, the drama. But there are real emotional vampires out there, real people who are the crazy makers and the poisonous playmates. And I had to take a step back and think, okay, am I defending so-and-so, or is this, is this something I actually need to be mindful of? And I think being mindful is always a good thing. I think that having boundaries is always a good thing. And Arwen talked about, your hula hoop, and I've been trying to pay more attention to my hula hoop, to saying yes when I want to say yes, and to saying no when I simply cannot do something. You can't say yes all the time. I mean, if you're a people pleaser and you're only doing it to please people, then you will say yes all the time. But sometimes there are just things that you cannot simply do. And I'm trying to learn to balance things more. So I have had trouble in the past, saying no and overwhelming myself with things and not saying no. So the past month I have actually gotten better. That's thus the break on YouTube. And the last video, the introduction to the video, completely got corrupted. And I could have spent extra time trying to make another introduction and all of that. But you know what? I decided to just put a note on there. Hey, look, the introduction got corrupted. What you get is what you get. If you wanted, some people don't want to wait. They want the video right then and there. And I decided to just go ahead and put it up. I've noticed that the thumbs down and the critical comments and stuff like that, haters are going to hate. And I think that people like that, trolls and haters and the crazy makers and the poisonous playmates, misery loves company. And I learned last year that your attitude really does make a difference. And I have a positive attitude, and I'm going to keep a positive attitude. I'm going to look at things in a good way, and I'm not allowing that kind of negativity in my life, because negativity begots negativity, like misery loves company. And so I had already kind of taken care of a lot of that in my life, not allowing all that negativity into my life, that kind of drama. But it made me rethink some things, and I realized that, sometimes I need to remember it's okay to say no. It's okay to say no. It's okay not to be able to do something, or it's okay to take time for yourself to do that, because I tend to feel guilty. It's okay to take time for yourself. It's okay to not be able to do something. It's okay to say no when you need to. It's okay to say no when you want to. You can't be everything to everybody any more than everybody out there's going to like you. I love that one thing. You can be the most gorgeous, delectable, delicious, ripe peach out there, but there are some people who just don't like peaches. Some people don't want you to be creative. Some people don't want you to be your authentic self. Some people don't want you to succeed. And you just have to stay away from those people. So that's this week. Now that I've went off on a ramble and a rant, it's just, I guess the climate is having a lot to do with that. It's rather rainy and nasty and gray this whole weekend here, and with all the political stuff going on, it's kind of that same kind of nasty gray atmosphere. So y'all have a good one. I'll see you next Sunday with another Artist Way video. We'll talk about week 3 and recovering a sense of power, and I'll see you maybe Monday for a coffee chat. I'm going to see if I can get all of this done today. If you don't get a coffee chat Monday, I will do the coffee chat for Tuesday. Thanks, y'all. Bye.